Hello there. Thank you so much for joining us. This is News Channel Nebraska. My name's Eric McKay. Let's take a look at our top headlines today. Beginning in northeast Nebraska, where a Wisner man is in the hospital following a two-vehicle accident in northeast Nebraska on Tuesday. It happened about 2:30 in the afternoon along Highway 275 east of Norfolk.
We found that a van and a semi were involved. The van was rolled off the highway and the driver was ejected. He subsequently was life-flighted by LifeNet to UNMC in Omaha. The semi-driver declined medical treatment at scene. We're still trying to sort out exactly what happened here, but both vehicles were eastbound. The van was a contract rural mail carrier, so we do have the U.S. Postal Service involved. We're recovering mail right now. And as you can see, we've had Highway 275 partially blocked since the time of the accident. We're still working to clean up the scene.
Sheriff Unger said the eastbound lanes of Highway 275 were closed for more than 2 hours. A Lancaster County District Court judge has dismissed a challenge to overturn the Nebraska medical cannabis initiative. The judge ruling the petitions met all the constitutional and statutory requirements, making them legally valid under Nebraska law. It's a decision expected to be appealed to the state's Supreme Court. Earlier this month, Nebraska voters overwhelmingly supported the legalization of medical marijuana, with nearly 70% voting in favor. The election results set to be certified next week. Well, AAA says more than 80 million Americans are traveling for Thanksgiving. If you're one of them, you might think it's too late to alter your plans, but experts say some minor modifications could make your journey smoother. Amy Kiley has some last-minute ideas to consider.
AAA's advice is try to leave as early as possible.
As millions of Americans venture out for Thanksgiving, experts say last-minute travel tips could help. AAA says drivers who can't leave early today still have a way to beat traffic.
If you have flexibility and you still want to make it in time to your destination in time to have Thanksgiving dinner, you can do that and just leave really early on Thanksgiving morning, and the traffic should be a little bit lighter.
Booking a last-minute flight might cost a fortune, but
your best bet is to try to book a deal departing on Thanksgiving Day itself.
As for weather, several storms are in the national forecast. Experts suggest people who are flying pack with possible delays and cancellations in mind.
And if that connection gets canceled or something happens and you've checked a bag, trying to retrieve that bag while also trying to figure out what to do next, it just adds another layer of stress.
AAA says some drivers need to pack for the weather, too. The National Weather Service expects an Arctic blast in parts of the U.S. this week.
Have some extra blankets in case you get stuck on the side of the road, extra snacks, all of those things that would keep you comfortable in the vehicle if you get stuck.
I'm Amy Kiley reporting.
This is the season for holiday celebrations. Newspaper reports first mentioned Santa Claus delivering presents in southeast Nebraska in 1857. But this is the first year that the gift-giving legend rode in the Auburn Chamber of Commerce's lighted parade. Dan Swanson has more.
The Auburn Chamber of Commerce honored treasured holiday traditions with its hometown Christmas, but its first lighted Christmas parade is counted among its brightest ideas. There were thousands of lights on 25 entries for the parade down Courthouse Avenue, including the Chamber of Commerce float featuring Christmas music and Santa and Mrs. Claus. Santa is preparing for his 2024th round-the-world journey this Christmas, but still made time to light the community Christmas tree on Thursday and sprinkled joyous light over the parade. Float winners Lacey Gertis and Jody Adams of Bernard Real Estate said their entry was inspired by Lacey's little house and the home for the holidays theme.
I think it was just a lot of fun, and there was a lot of really fun floats, and that was important. There's a lot of people that watched, and I think that's great.
Judges selected The Farmer's Wife for second place and Airstream with its lighted reindeers and sleigh on top of a van for third. The parade concluded a weekend of activities, including the community Christmas tree lighting that featured hot cocoa and carolers. The holiday market was at the senior center, and there were hayrack rides, living nativity, and story time with Mrs. Claus. The Auburn Chamber of Commerce hopes the parade will become a new tradition for the city's Keep the Cheer campaign. And Adams says there may be some new strategies for next year's lighted parade.
We lost our walkers. We had two of our agents were handing out lighted rings to the kids, and we kind of lost them in the parade. But Teresa Nichols and Tammy Hoover were handing out lighted rings for the little kids. So next year, I guess we just need to slow down so we can keep everybody all together. And I hope everybody will enter next year and we'll have an even bigger parade.
The parade also benefited from unseasonably high temperatures in the upper 50s. From Auburn, I'm Dan Swanson, News Channel, Nebraska.
Meanwhile, a national park in Nebraska is gearing up for its annual holiday festival. Doug Kennedy has more.
The Homestead National Historical Park west of Beatrice opens their Winter Festival of Prairie Cultures this Thanksgiving weekend. There will be 10 trees showing various nations' holiday culture at the Education Center and another 6 at the Heritage Center. Park Ranger Amber Kirkendall said the displays celebrate immigration and the Homestead Act, joining the traditions of settlers' home countries with the United States. There will also be consecutive presentations over 3 Sundays in December, the first one this weekend.
You know, we know that people came from the Pale of Settlement in Russia, which is the places where European Jewish people were relegated to within that empire, and came here on the premise of the Homestead Act. So we have a display that talks about Hanukkah traditions that would have been brought over. We also have a new indigenous display where we had a Lakota artist make a winter count, which is a traditional way in which Lakota people documented their history. They picked one major event per year. And our artist came to our Homestead Days and worked with the people at Homestead Days and created one specifically for the park.
Sunday, December 8th, Lindsay Oling of Paper Moon Pastries of Cortland is putting on a holiday traditions baking program.
But she brings cookies and kolaches, so if you love Paper Moon, come to this program. You'll be able to eat some of her baked goods while you learn from her. And then afterwards, she's judging our second annual Palmer Epard Cabin contest. So you only have to make it out of food. It doesn't have to be gingerbread. Oftentimes it's gingerbread or graham crackers, but it's supposed to look like the Palmer Epard Cabin. There's 2 different youth categories, a business or a club category.
Ranger Kirkendall will put on the final Sunday presentation December 15th on holiday tea traditions around the world that would have been brought to the United States. Visitors should bring their favorite teacup to sample some of the varieties. The Festival of Prairie Cultures begins after Thanksgiving Day, and the displays will be in place until the new year. From Beatrice, Doug Kennedy, News Channel, Nebraska.
In sports, a Class C2 football dynasty has been extended. The final day of the NSAA High School Football Championships were Tuesday, featuring Norfolk Catholic taking on Bishop Neumann. Tim Hackett has the highlights.
4 football state champions crowned, 3 more to go on a chilly November Tuesday here at Memorial Stadium. We start things off in Class C2. 2 squads that met at the beginning of the season meet again here at Memorial in the Class C2 state championship. It's Bishop Neumann versus Norfolk Catholic in a matchup of the top 2 seeds in Class C2 to start off this Tuesday morning. Both defenses strong in a scoreless first quarter. Norfolk Catholic's run defense stopped up standout Connor Booth, and then the Bishop Neumann secondary denying deep balls thanks to this breakup from Will Sassaman. Bishop Neumann then ignited by a long punt return, and then on 3rd and goal, Connor Booth hits the half-century mark, punching in his 50th score of the season. Extra point blocked, however, a play that would loom large for the rest of the game. But finally, Norfolk Catholic scores with 10 seconds to play. Trevin Sukup's foot just barely staying in bounds after further review, and then Norfolk Catholic converts their extra point. The Knights head into halftime, leading 7-6. No change in score as we head to the 4th quarter. Norfolk Catholic finally breaks things open with a long run by Sukup. But Bishop Neumann responds with a blocked extra point of their own, and with 8 minutes left, It's 13-6. NC then breaks up a deep pass on 3rd and long and takes back over with 6 minutes to play and with 4 minutes to go. Finally, a breakthrough. Max Hammond with a long catch and run up the left sideline, followed by a rare successful extra point to give the Knights a 20-6 lead with 4 minutes to go. And with just a few minutes left in the game, on 3rd down, it's suck up again. Touchdown number 3 for the Knights, number 3, securing state title number 3 in a row for Norfolk Catholic. Bishop Neumann fights to the finish and pulls one score back with 10 seconds to play. But the Knights dominate after halftime to become state champions again. Head coach Jeff Beller and Max Hammond have won a lot of games together, and they cap off 2024 with another state title.
Obviously, I've been involved in a lot of championships, which is a nice thing, but that don't help you win today. Today you have to come and play, and I thought we played better as the game went on.
Just being able to come to practice and be with them all day, I'm going to miss that a lot. They're all my friends. We hang out all the time, and just being able to come out on top is amazing.
This game started at 10:15 in the morning, but once again, it's the Knights that end up on top in Class C2, the 3rd state championship in a row for Norfolk Catholic. From Memorial Stadium in Lincoln, Tim Hackett, News Channel Nebraska Sports.
Meanwhile, in Class C1, Wahoo able to make amends after falling to Boone Central in the state championship game last year. This year's obstacle, Central City, making their first ever trip to the big dance. Brandon Axeman has more.
The Wahoo Warriors have finished business with an exclamation point for the 2024 season. Class C1 state champs defeating Central City 47-7 on Tuesday afternoon. If you'll remember, the Warriors were in this exact same game last season, fell short and finished runners-up. That was not the case today, and they did it like they've been doing all season long. A perfect undefeated season. They've leaned on their defense, only once giving up more than 14 points this season. They hold their opponent to 7 and force 8 turnovers. Yes, 8. 7 interceptions and a fumble that was a scoop and score that led the Wahoo Warriors to the victory. Offensively, Kip Brigham led the way on the ground, 133 yards on 24 carries. He scored twice. Leading receiver for the Warriors, Caden Christian, 106 yards and a touchdown. But again, when you have a defense that's turning over an opponent 8 times, it makes things pretty easy for you. Head coach Chad Fox said this may perhaps be the most dominant defensive performance he's been a part of with Wahoo.
That's pretty dang good. Yeah, we haven't had that many takeaways, and yeah, it was, and we needed to have that many because we gave the ball away a few times, and our takeaway margin was plus 25 coming in the game. So we've been good in that department, but not like we were today, and we were honed in, and it was awesome. It's not often you see teenagers that are focused for 15 weeks, and they had a target on their back. Everybody picked them to be number 1 and be in this game, and they didn't flinch one time.
So again, your final score, 47-7 Wahoo, your Class C1 state champs. This is the 2nd state title for the Warriors program in school history, their first coming back in 2019. I'm Brandon Axeman in Lincoln reporting, News Channel Nebraska.
And you can see highlights from all the state championship games and stay up to date with the very latest by visiting us online. Head to newschannelnebraska.com, click on the News tab there. You can also follow us on X, like us on Facebook and Instagram as well. Thanks for joining us. Have a great Thanksgiving. This is News Channel Nebraska.